All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Roy Jones Jr. lights off on Fighters 4 and asks him the question, if you're not trying to fight the best, what are you fighting for? With a clear message to certain people at 147 pounds. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be talking about what the great Roy Jones Jr. had to say about boxing, and some of his words falling very, very heavy on a certain welterweight that goes by the name of Terence Bud Crawford. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber, supporter of the channel, thank you so much for your continued support for the channel. Really does mean a lot. Let's get into this. Oh, especially everybody that says thank you and supports the channel in a super thanks, which is really a great way to support content creators whose videos and content you like. But let's get into this, man, because, you know, there was a lot of talk going on, man, about what's going to happen at 147. We've got some good fights coming in boxing for sure this year. Been a very, very good year in boxing, in my opinion. We've had great fights out of Gervonta Davis. With the Hector Garcia fight, got one coming up with Ryan Garcia. We've had good fights that have included fighters like David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. We've had really good fights that just been a really good year of boxing so far. However, as usual, there's the biggest fights in boxing, or the fights that people think are the ones that really should be taking place that as of yet right now have not taken place. And I wouldn't put Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia necessarily in that category. I just think that that's a fight that's very big and a fight that where you have distinct fan bases and people really want to watch. But Roy Jones Jr. spoke out right before he had this fight with Pettis this weekend and really kind of went off on boxing. And man, this is something that really just in my opinion, it applies to two people. It applies to Terence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. One more so than the other, but still very stinging words from Roy Jones Jr. If you're not familiar with who Roy Jones Jr. is, you don't know you're obviously not very into boxing. Multi-divisional champion, a champion at 160, and at 160, he fought the likes of future Hall of Famers, Bernard Hopkins, and he fought James Toney at 168 pounds. At 168 pounds, he was a world champion. At 175 pounds, I do believe that's where he fought Antonio Tarver twice. He moved up to heavyweight. He fought for the heavyweight championship against John Ruiz, won, came back down, right? So and then after that, career slumped as far as, like the results in the ring, wound up getting knocked out by Antonio Tarver, Glenn Johnson, but still fought Bernard Hopkins again, fought Joe Calzaghe when Roy was well past his prime and on the slide. But just a guy that, no matter what you want to say, man, about Roy Jones Jr., one thing you can't say, similar to Oscar De La Hoya, is this guy is not willing to fight whoever it is that's in his weight class. And he never, ever really let money or any of those type of conversations ever stop the fight, right? You never heard from Roy Jones Jr. the type of things that you hear from other fighters, like what you hear from Terence Crawford with this Errol Spence Jr. fight, or Canelo Alvarez, what you hear for a bunch of different fights. But specifically, I think the one that really radiates the most right now is obviously Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, because that is the one fight that is available for both of those guys. That is, I still think, is the biggest fight in boxing. I do agree with what a lot of people saying, which is that, people's interest is waning in the fight, if not waning in talking about if not waning as far as their interest in seeing the fight, definitely waning in their desire to talk about the fight, right? So it's just something that has lost a lot of steam, but I do believe if it gets announced, we'll have one. But if you look at what he said and you look at the things that Terence Crawford has said, Terence Crawford is definitely a big example of what he's saying, because you have Terence Crawford, who literally does not have anybody else to fight that is anywhere near Errol Spence Jr. And he has said things like, I don't need the fight. I'm past the fight. He pulled out of a negotiation to have another fight, right? And even now, where there's talk and belief by some people that the fight is still can be made, there's still hopes for that fight to be made, it still boggles my mind why the fight is not already done. Because if they're negotiating and they now, as of right now, it is April, right? So I do believe they started negotiating for the fight last time in June. That's 6 months of last year. It is 3 full months of this year. So that's 9 full months that these guys have had to figure out exactly what they need to do to get this fight done. Errol Spence Jr. himself had said before, look, if this fight doesn't get made, it's going to be Terence Crawford. And so my opinion has not really changed in that regard. But to hear the frustration in Roy Jones Jr.'s voice, like, look, man, if you don't want to fight the absolute best, then, what are you fighting for? And the truth of the matter is that as long as the money matches with fighting the best, then I think he's got an excellent point, right? And I mean, like, as if that's the most money that you can make in a fight. Not saying that you get every penny that you want out of a fight, right? Like if you say, for example, Terence Crawford wants to fight Errol Spence, and at the end of the day, he thinks he's going to make $15 million, but he wants $25 million. But the people involved don't really think the books pan out like that. But the most he'll make on any other fight is 10. That's $5 million. That's 5 million reasons why you should go ahead and make that fight. But I agree 100% with what Roy Jones said about that. And I hope I really do hope that fight comes to fruition. It would be an absolute shame if it wouldn't. But at the same time, also, I'm just hoping that guys, that whatever they do, they make up their mind and they move on. They move on and do it, because you do have a division. And I'm a big fan of Errol Spence. I'm a fan of Terence Crawford, even though Terence Crawford says something crazy about me. Still, definitely like to see him fight, want to continue to see him fight, know he's a world-class fighter. But there are if they're not going to do it, it becomes a point of like, ish or get off the pot type of situation, right? Where if they don't fight and they fight other people, we get to see other fights. If one moves up in weight or the other moves up in weight, then you get to see more fighters come to the forefront. And then you may wind up finding out that there's other really good fighters that are on par with them, and we can see those guys fight. But nothing can happen as long as it just continues, to be, it not actually take place. Now, on to the credit, though, and I know people think, hey, man, I'm just a big Errol Spence Jr. fan, but all I can say is, man, even though I really do wish that he would announce a fight any way it goes, you got to commend the dude for doing and making and basically following what Roy Jones Jr. has said, which is he's somebody that does not want tune-up fights. He's somebody that is not looking for fights that are easy. He wants, in every fight that he's had, he's either fighting a guy. If he's in position to fight somebody for a unification fight in that division, he's done it, and done it against people that are world champions, multiple time world champions. So, it is what it is. I just can't put the blame on him. But anyway, I just want to let you know what Roy Jones Jr. went off on. I thought his speech in that regard, I thought it was heartfelt. I think that he was really, telling the truth about what's going on in boxing. You also see guys like Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk in the games. Tyson Fury is playing with Alexander Usyk. I know Bob Arum came out and said, that fight would have been made in a minute if, there wasn't more money for the fight later on in Saudi Arabia in the second half of the year. Well, if that's the case, why is Tyson Fury doing all that talking about give me 50, give me 70-30 and all of this other stuff if he wasn't going to take the fight, right? Seems just like a bunch of games and shit to me. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.